India, the country with the largest population, the fifth largest economy in the world, and the third largest power generation, holds significant power and influence in South Asia. Despite this, it may come as a surprise that India is currently seeking to purchase electricity from its much smaller neighbor, Nepal. This situation raises the question of what could be driving this unexpected turn of events. May 22, 1911, marked a historic moment for Nepal, as it marked the official launch of the Chandra Bridge Deep Power Station, the country's first ever hydropower station. This 500-kilowatt station was named after the then Prime Minister of Nepal and successfully illuminated the King's Palace from its very first day of operation. However, what many do not realize is that, despite being a large-scale power station, it only served the luxurious lifestyles of the elite at the time and did not alleviate the struggle of the average Nepalese citizen who still lacked access to electricity. Nepal may have established its first hydropower station early on, but unfortunately, hydropower development has been slow and stagnant over the past few hundred years. At present, the installed capacity of hydropower stations nationwide stands at a mere 1,440 megawatts, which is only about 1/18 of the Three Gorges hydropower station. Due to the country's lack of abundant energy sources, like coal mines, Nepal cannot rely on thermal power generation to supplement its energy needs like many other countries. As such, hydropower remains the best option for electricity generation in the country. Despite its lack of other energy sources, Nepal possesses a wealth of hydropower resources due to its geographic location on the southern side of the Himalayas. The convergence of warm, humid air currents from the Himalayas and the Indian Ocean has resulted in Nepal's hydropower reserves reaching a staggering 83 million kilowatts, equivalent to 2.3% of the world's total hydropower reserves. Unfortunately, the country has not been able to fully capitalize on these valuable resources due to a shortage of funds and adequate hydropower technology. Just a decade ago, only 75% of Nepalese households had access to electricity, leaving many struggling to live without this essential resource. In order to boost economic growth, Nepal has been forced to import electricity from India, with 2.2 billion kilowatt-hours imported in 2019 alone. This dependence on imported electricity has severely hindered Nepal's economic development. Thanks to China's assistance, the situation in Nepal has undergone a significant change. The Upper Tamasi hydropower station, which represents the largest hydropower project jointly built by Nepal and China, was fully operational as of March of last year. The power station is situated on the Tamasi River, constructed into the hillside, and features a total of 6 turbines, with a combined installed capacity of 456 megawatts. With its steady flow, the Tamasi River is one of Nepal's 3 major rivers, enabling the Upper Tamasi hydropower station to generate an average annual power output of 2.281 billion kilowatt-hour, roughly equivalent to the amount of electricity Nepal imported from India in 2019. Based on per capita electricity consumption data from recent years, the power generated by the Upper Tamasi hydropower station can cater to the electricity needs of around 14 million people in Nepal, which equates to half of Nepal's population and has the potential to substantially improve the quality of life for the people of Nepal. The Upper Tamasi hydropower station is just a small component of the hydropower cooperation between China and Nepal. China has a number of other power projects in Nepal, including 3 terraced hydropower stations along the Marsyangdi River, with a total investment of $1.2 billion. Upon completion of these hydropower stations, Nepal will be able to transform from an electricity-deficient nation to an electricity exporting country. Nepal is highly economically dependent on India, with more than 90% of its total imports and exports currently coming from India. Due to geographic factors, over 98% of Nepal's goods imported and exported must pass through India. Nepal is completely reliant on India for fuel and other products. As a result of India's significant control over Nepal's economy, it is not an overstatement to say that India wields considerable power over Nepal. In the past, India had significant political and economic influence on Nepal, allowing them to exploit Nepalese interests. For instance, the Koshi River Treaty was signed by both countries to control flooding caused by the river. However, the dam built by India excavates a significant amount of water, and India controls all rights to its use and control. Nepal cannot use the dam to irrigate farmland and dry land. Moreover, after the dam's completion, it caused flooding in the most fertile farmland in the Trend district in eastern Nepal. Unfortunately, despite most of the electricity generated by the dam being owned by India, Nepalese are required to pay for electricity from this hydropower station. To reduce energy dependence on India and promote economic development, Nepal is seeking to partner with China to construct a large number of hydropower stations. This would not only provide a stable and ample power supply, but also help to boost the economy through the sale of electricity, create local job opportunities, and reduce reliance on India for energy. In recent years, the hydropower station, built through China-Nepal cooperation, has begun operating, and many predict that this will significantly boost Nepal's GDP. In fact, since Chinese infrastructure companies started investing in Nepal, the country's GDP growth rate has ranged between 6.6% and 8.2%. Prior to the arrival of these companies, Nepal had only developed 972 megawatts of hydropower, which was insufficient to meet the peak load demand of 1,400 megawatts. In just a few years, China has assisted Nepal in increasing its total hydropower generation capacity to nearly 1,900 megawatts, which has helped to meet the country's demand for electricity. The construction of hydropower stations by China has not only provided a stable power supply, but has also had a positive impact on the lives of villagers in the surrounding areas. Local media reports in Nepal reveal that in addition to building hydropower stations, China has repaired and improved surrounding infrastructure, including schools, bridges, power supply facilities, and water supply facilities. This is how China has not only improved Nepal's infrastructure, but also demonstrated its generosity. Currently, the hydropower stations jointly developed by China and Nepal have been operational for some time, leading to an increase in Nepal's GDP growth rate. However, since the Upper Tamasi hydropower station was fully operational in March last year, Nepal has been generating a surplus of electricity and has even started exporting it to India. While India has a vast land area, it has not been rich in power resources, with 70% of its main power resources coming from coal. After the COVID-19 epidemic, India's economy began to recover, resulting in a surge in demand for electricity. However, the recent high and rising global coal prices have created a power supply crisis in India. Even parts of Delhi suffered power outages, and the power supply in other regions may be even more tense. Against this backdrop, Nepal has begun selling electricity to India, earning tens of millions of dollars. That is really interesting. The hydropower station, built by China and Nepal, has resolved India's power shortage problem. However, the competition between China and India for influence in Nepal extends far beyond power. When India was inactive, China began planning to collaborate with Nepal on a railway project. If the railway is constructed, The low freight rates could result in a flood of Chinese goods into Nepal, thereby causing India to lose its grip on Nepal. Who knows, in the not-too-distant future, Nepal may challenge its big brother, India.